And what he's proposing, in conversation, it sounds like he's taken all the steps to make it as safe as he can, doing what the process is.
Thank you. Chief Coughlin, can I put you on the hot seat for a moment? How do you feel as a fire chief, please?
At this point, I don't have any concerns. I know that Dave Savage and he's spoken with some people in reference to, you know, NFPA standards and different things that they would be required to do within the building and the products and the chemicals in which they're using. Just a question. I believe your bulk product coming in to be processed is dry.
Yes.
You know, and most of you talk about hay bale, barn fire type thing, that's a wet product that goes in, and when you get that spontaneous combustion. So I'm not real familiar with the process, but at this point I don't have any objection. Again, I haven't seen, there's been no proposal, nothing that's come across to review or anything like that. But you know, this is being done other places. It's not something, it's not like this is the first attempt at this, right?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Buzzell, 1 second, sir.
I just want to clarify, we're talking about the old Guardian building up there.
Yes, sir.
What part of the building are you planning on kind of doing what to? I'm very familiar with that building, that's why I'm asking.
The middle section
Yep.
we'll keep the front as the office and restrooms
Yep.
and all that, so that will stay the way it is.
Yep.
And then that middle section of it, we'll put laboratories. They are approximately 20 feet wide
Yep.
and about 45 to 50 feet long,
Yep.
broken up into compartments. So we would just start off with one, and then we would allow ourselves to expand through it. And in the far back of it, we would have the storage. And that's what I was talking about, possibly putting metal cladding and preventing any...
Well, it's all a metal building except some of the platform racking that's in there. It's an all-steel building.
You know it better than I do.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I've only been in a few. And the thing about it is, the reason the building's so nice to us, and Gary tried to push me away, tried to send me to other places, but the reason the building is because it's so rough. And everything we put in, like we're gonna put 3-phase power to the building, completely new electrical system, all the ventilation systems, all of that has to be completely redone. The floors are going to have to be re-epoxied floors. It's gonna be like going into an operating room. I mean, it's kind of like a brew pub. When you look at a brew pub, that's what the look is. Those same stainless steel bins, it's going to be that same kind of look. So that's...
I was only gearing it towards the fire aspect of it, from that middle section, as you call it, and the back section. The back section is an old, like, Sheridan building, I believe Sheridan actually built it, that's, I don't know what that thing is, it's, you know, the walls are 24 feet tall, probably 30 feet tall, they're pretty tall. And it's an all steel building, steel sided, and everything, other than some wood racking that had been in it, which I don't know if it's still there or not, but.
I think, I've only been in it that one time. I actually been in it, and I hate to say it, if you think back where that building was, I mean, compared to what we're putting in, it's gonna be a lot safer than that wood that was there and the shingles and all of that. But regardless, whatever the concern is of these neighbors, we're gonna try to appease everybody. We wanna be the...
I mean, if you fill that big warehouse up, I could see could possibly have a major catastrophe fire, but you'd have to have a lot in there to fill it.
You would, I mean, we could never process that kind of material.
No, that was my only comment.
Mr. Hammond, you had a question, sir?
Yeah, what are other states doing? Maine seems to be one of the latest in taking on this act. What's the history been of Colorado, some of the earlier states that have made this distinction?
Sure, so actually, and again, I think when we think of like Washington and Colorado, where they've legalized marijuana, I don't think there's been really any distinctions there. Here's where I've seen it. So currently, since December of 2018, when they passed the Farm Bill, what we're now seeing is hemp being produced, and the reason why the Farm Bill passed is because Kentucky is one of the largest producers of it, which is Mitch McConnell's state. So you can see why it finally got through the Senate. So what we're seeing it now is that hemp that's being grown in like Kentucky and Washington and Colorado is now being able to be processed in places where they already have these processing facilities. So those states have an up, right? Because they've already had facilities that were able to process marijuana. And again, what a lot of them are doing is converting that to being able to process hemp, because it's it's safer. You can bank. Once hemp got removed from the Schedule I drugs, now you can, no, it's no longer illegal at the federal level. So now you can get traditional financing. You can transport it over interstate lines and stuff like that. So that's where we've seen the difference with respects to these types of states. They just had a leg up in terms of their processing facilities, and Maine is one of them. Although Maine's a little behind in terms of processing facilities. There's not enough processing facilities in the state of Maine to keep up with the demand.
Let me just make a quick give you a historical kind of perspective. 2014 was the first year that the hemp was allowed through universities and whatnot. So last year there was 78,000 acres of hemp grown in the United States. Surprisingly, the highest growth was in Montana, 28,000 acres, followed by Colorado at 22,000, and Kentucky was one of the lowest. But they're planning on, the growth expectations are tremendous. Now, just to put things in perspective, Maine has 229,000 acres of arable field crops grown every year, with an average value of $1,235 an acre. Hemp, the average price of hemp right now would generate $50,000 an acre for the raw material. Molson just spent $4 billion buying a big hemp company from California. They're going to put, the expectations this is going to go in every consumer product out there. So this is the leading edge. So we're kind of a year or two behind maybe some of these other states, but this is the tip of the spear right now. It's going to be a true. My partner's president of Coca-Cola, and they're sitting, waiting for the next step where it does become totally legitimized, and then they're just going to come in and just going to buy everybody up. This is a very, very real.
One second, I got some more questions. Dana?
Sure.
You said this is being processed in Waterville. Where is that?
The Harris Building?
In the Harris Building? Harris Bakery?
David?
Two questions. What's your post-product after processing? What are you doing with the product?
We're working with waste management, and they're going to use it to, we just started working with them, is to cover their landfills at the end. It's almost compost. I mean, it is.
Right, so you're not going to pelletize it and use it for a byproduct like pellet stoves as an option?
We haven't got there, but I mean, right now, that's.
I only say this because I will state that I'm the deputy chief of Augusta Fire. I drive by a facility every single day going to work. You would not know that anything's going on in that building. I'm not trying to sway anybody's opinion, but as a view and you're concerned, you can't smell anything, you don't see anything. It's 18-wheelers, there's an old warehouse, there's 18-wheelers there, they come in and then they leave. There's no pile of stuff outside, it's all inside, you don't see anything. So, if you're just viewing that concern, there's nothing there. And I can tell you where it is, you can drive by it every day, you won't see a thing. But they palletize their stuff, they donate it to towns that if people need heat, they're donating their pellets.
Mr. Cox?
You got a question. I was wondering if there's any, from the byproducts, if there's any toxicity in any of that at all that had to be dealt with in the town.
It's pure hemp. I mean, it's hemp. Hemp has anywhere ranging from 4% CBD to 18 or 22. We're just extracting the CBD out of it, and then it's left with a byproduct. So we're not adding anything to it. The alcohol that we use to do it is a grain alcohol. We take it, bring it down to negative 50 degrees in our process. And this alcohol is the same alcohol, I hate to say it, but you could drink it. I mean, it's 200 proof alcohol.
And it's recycled, 100%. Theoretically, 100% recycled.
The only waste product is the mass, the biomass.
Mm-hmm.
We extract the oil, we use all of that.
There's no toxins.
There's no toxins in that. And in fact, most of the customers are all going to demand, pesticide-free hemp growth, organically grown type stuff.
Sir, in reference to it being a product from Maine to produce or grow, like agricultural committee, from the only thing I know is I read the internet. Canada is already set up in doing this.
Yep.
In a large scale. It's going to be like potatoes. They're going to flood us with it. So
They've already bought land and they plan on growing 10,000 acres in Worcester County next year.
It's just, it may not be as good a deal as for
Oh,
the
it-
agricultural as
It might not be
presented.
it might not be $50,000 an acre in a couple of years, but it's certainly gonna be, it'll be well above $1,200 an acre for a long time.
All right, thank you.
Dana?
What is left over when you get this process all done? How much, say if you bring in 10 ton of hemp,
10 ton,
there's 10 ton of waste that goes somewhere after?
minus 6%.
Yeah, where does it go? What do you do with it?
It goes to waste management, we're working with waste management. They're looking at using it to fill their landfill. It's like a mulch, it's, you know.
Okay, so it's all over town.
The gentleman behind me was telling us that one of the towns that does it, they pelletize it and they donate the pellets for wood. I mean, it's a burnable biomass type of product in the end.
Does it smell good burning?
When did you grow up? Well, it's filled, it would have the byproduct of CBD and all those good things.
A bunch of drunk cows.
David, can I ask you one question?
Yes, sir.
Any fire problems down there?
No, they, the city requested they follow an FPA 1, the most current edition. It's not the state's, the 2018 edition. So
Chapter 38.
NFPA 1, Chapter 30.
And
And they'll most likely, the company we dealt will comply 100%.
those are guidelines that we'll work together on, and to be honest, we've done them up because we've been looking for a home to do.
Well, we have to, the other thing is, we have to have this certified GMP by third-party certification. So we've got to meet all of the codes just from a business standpoint, let alone local fire code and whatnot. So this is a pharmaceutical production. This is very clean room, you know, white glove type of operation.
So, without any further ado, I'd like to make a motion. And I'd like to table this till our next meeting, so we can read through this stuff, so we can also see where the legislature's gotta go. And that will happen quickly. I would think so.
It's an emergency.
I'm laughing with you.
Second that motion.
Motion's made, second. Question, Don.
At that time, our options are to take no action, which would mean you'd be free to get permits and do whatever. I'm asking that, is that a viable,
That's a viable choice.
so we can do nothing, they could go ahead with the permitting process, we go from there. We can opt in, opt out. Now, I have no idea what opt in and opt out really means. Are those our other two options? And then opting in means what?
Opting in means allowing the business to take place under the guise that the byproduct, the CBD oil from hemp, is actually regulated by the medical marijuana guidelines. That's the whole point of confusion here. And my recommendation would be to take no action at all. And, study it, understand it, bring it back. If you develop any more questions, Mr. Jobber, I'm sure will be here at the next meeting, which is in 2 weeks. That's not a time frame killer for you. And then we can clear up any other developed questions and take it from there.
I guess my only question would be, what's the difference between opting in, opting out, and doing nothing?
Maybe in 2 weeks we can figure that out with all
Exactly.
this new information we got here.
Well, and my only response is, and I don't know if
We
this
ought
is
to
on-
table it, but we ought to remove that motion and discuss it.
The motion is on the table to table this until the next meeting. It was seconded by Dana. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Tabled. 2 weeks from today.
Okay.
Okay?
We've got an additional, they have a permit to get appreciate it. Even if we done together, so.
Restrictions and all the differences in the regulatory aspects.
Just as a side question.
It'd be crazy for us to
Everything over here, unless the state comes back.
That's why I asked. I know both buildings.
Thank you all.
Okay, we'll continue on, please.
So am I.
Just a quick, good to go? Here we go. The next item on the agenda tonight, we're gonna do is just a couple things here, changing things up. I wanna do this. Item number 4 is consider signing the MOU between the town of Oakland and Snow Fund Seniors. I wish to table that tonight because we're gonna wait for the latest version of the MOU from the school. So I have a motion on the table to table that. Is there a second? All in favor? Table, thank you. We're moving on to the next one. The next one up is the fire department. Mr. Chief Coughlin is here to talk to tonight about the fire department. We had some questions in the budget meeting the other night. So Dave, you got the floor, and thank you for stepping up earlier.
No problem at all. You have some information in front of you, or you should have. You asked for information on the potential leasing option if we went the new route. And as I mentioned, we reached out to a couple of lenders. The one that I actually have something in writing from is Gorham. I expect something tomorrow from Camden National, but this would, I'm assuming it's going to be very similar. So you have that. You also have a kind of a side-by-side comparison of costs as far as leasing a vehicle, using a used police car. One of those then has what I hand wrote onto Doug's form. After the 4 years, if you decided to go forward with a new vehicle, what that final cost would be over a 10-year period. And then you also have another fire chief command vehicle lease versus police car that Doug also did, that shows after 4 years getting another used police cruiser after 4 years.